I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And there are a lot of stories to get to tonight on this program, and we'll do it. We'll work through them one by one. But let's start with what happened on that movie set out in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Halyna Hutchins should be alive. Let's just start right there. She should be alive. She should be on the set working. She should be able to go home, be with her family, her husband, her son. But that's not it. It's not going to happen. She was shot and killed. ALEC Baldwin is the one who fired the weapon. And, you know, there's a lot of debate about what happened, why it happened, and how this could happen, and what it all means. Well, it means, first and foremost, it means that this woman has lost her life unnecessarily. There was no reason for this to happen. People have to do their jobs and do them correctly. This was all taking place, as I said, in New Mexico at that, in Santa Fe. There's a ranch that's used for lots of different movies. It's been used many, many times before, and it was being used. ALEC Baldwin, the executive producer of the project. And you can see, it looks kind of like a Hollywood set, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and they were able to produce movies and shoot movies. And movies inevitably, especially Westerns, have guns in them. Almost every movie I watch has a gun in it. Sooner or later, someone's pulling out a gun and firing it. I mean, it's part of the business. It's part of the fabric. So here tonight, I want to, again, dive into this story, but going down two avenues. Facts and the law. That's what we do at Court TV. We take a look at the facts, then we take a look at the law and figure out what's going on here. So first, we're gonna get some new information from the affidavit that was released from the search warrant. We'll take a look at that. Then we'll bring in our panel of experts, and we'll take a look at the law in New Mexico and see what do the facts potentially say, and how will they be impacted by the law of New Mexico, and will anyone be criminally responsible, okay? Civil liability, it's over, it's done. That's not even a discussion to have. Not even a discussion, it's just who's gonna pay and how much. But that means nothing to the family. It means absolutely nothing to that family tonight. So let's begin with some of the facts, or alleged facts, that we're getting our hands on here. This again is from the search warrant affidavit, and in it, it says, during the filming of the movie, Assistant Director Dave Halls grabbed one of three, quote, prop guns that was set up by the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez, which was on a cart. Affiant, this is the officer who's signing the search warrant, learned one of the prop guns was then grabbed by the Assistant Director, Dave Halls, and he took it to the actor identified as ALEC Baldwin. As the Assistant Director, Dave Halls, handed the gun to actor ALEC Baldwin, Dave Halls yelled, quote, "cold gun," indicating the prop gun did not have any live rounds. The prop gun was fired by the actor ALEC Baldwin, striking the cinematographer, Halyna Hutchins, and Joel Souza, the director. Affiant later learned the Assistant Director, Dave Halls, did not know live rounds were in the prop gun when he had given the prop gun to actor ALEC Baldwin. But it did. So how is it supposed to work? I mean, what are protocols? How should this go down on a movie set? Like, this is not the first movie to be filmed with the use of a gun. They call them prop guns, but it's a real gun being used as a prop. Not the first time, won't be the last. It may be for some of the people associated with this movie. They may never want an actual gun on the set ever again. They'll want actual props, not guns used as props. But let's get some insight into all of this. Joining me now is the Associate Dean of a great school, the Chapman University Film School, a specialist in set procedures. Daniel Leonard is with us. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Let me just start just with your human reaction to what happened And being someone who understands how the industry works, what was your reaction when you heard and learned about what happened on that set in Santa Fe, New Mexico?
I think it was awful, particularly because I think it is entirely avoidable. If protocols had been followed, I don't think it would have happened.
Okay, there's a few words here that I want to go through with you. According to the affidavit, Dave Halls, the assistant director, is handing a gun to Alec Baldwin and says, "Cold gun." What does that mean? Is that a term that's used all the time? Is it a term that could have different meanings on different sets with different people? Is it an industry standard? What are your thoughts there?
That is a term that's used to indicate that the gun is empty, but typically the AD is not the person who would hand the gun to the actor. That should be the armorer, the person in charge of the gun. So this was a break in protocol that A, he brought it to him, and B, that he yelled "cold gun" without actually verifying that it was.
So you mentioned the armorer. That's Hannah Gutierrez, and there were apparently three, quote, prop guns that were set up and laid down on a cart. Is that normal procedure? Are guns set down and maybe, I don't know if there was no one watching them, if they were in a place where someone had access to them, but I know when we cover trials, chain of custody is incredibly important. What are your thoughts there about the guns being laid out on a cart and someone grabbing one? What should happen in a situation like that?
What should happen is that the armorer or weaponsmith should be the person in charge of the guns, should be there with the weapons. They should never be left unattended. If she had to go somewhere else, she should have taken them with her. And if the AD saw that she was not with him, he should have summoned her, and they should have gone through with a fine-tooth comb all three of the weapons before them moving on. Also, my understanding is this was a rehearsal, and generally you shouldn't use a gun for a rehearsal. You could use a prop for that until you do the actual take.
That was you're right on target here, and no pun intended at all when I said that, and that's honest. But that was my next question to you. Was apparently this is like a rehearsal. It seems like they're almost blocking the scene. It's the director, it's the cinematographer, it's the lead actor of the scene, kind of discussing things. Would there be any reason to have the gun in the actor's hand at that point?
No, a prop would certainly suffice because this is where you're determining what's safe. And so having a rubber gun is usually what would be used for that. And you would determine an angle where there is no human on the other end of where the gun is pointing. There also should be other precautions taken, like a barrier put between the cinematographer, camera operator, and the actor as well, depending on the distance they are from camera.
Okay, let's talk about the pointing of the gun. Now, when you shoot a movie, obviously the guns seem to be, in some of the shots have to be pointed at human beings. Gun safety people say you never point a gun at someone unless you're going to use it to kill them, right? I mean, that's basically what gun safety says. Never point a gun at another. But movies, it seems like that's part of it. Now, here, we're not talking about pointing at another actor, though. Apparently, the gun is pointed in the direction of the cinematographer and the director. What are your thoughts about? Is that something that would happen normally when you're filming a scene?
Well, usually it's very carefully choreographed not to be pointing directly at a person. And so oftentimes they call it cheating, is that you cheat at the angle that you're pointing so that you're not pointing at anyone, but the camera can't really distinguish depending on the angle or the lens and whatnot. So that should be extensively looked at in pre-production and very carefully managed on the set. And so it doesn't appear that this happened here.
The other term, this term live rounds, and the LA Times wrote about it, and it has my head spinning around a little bit. What does the term live rounds mean to people in the industry? And could a live round be a blank? Could a cold gun have blanks, or is a cold gun going to have absolutely nothing in it? How do those terms work with one another in the industry?
So a cold gun should have nothing in it. Live ammunition, bullets should never be brought to set, period, because they're never going to be used. A hot gun would have the blanks in them, and that's a warning to to say that we're going for a take. This is live. You need to be very careful with the weapon while it's on set. And what typically should happen is that the armorer should hand it to the actor. They would do the take and then hand it immediately back to the armorer.
Is there, and what's that back and forth like when you're an actor and you're being handed a gun for a scene? Is the demonstration that the gun is safe, the gun is cold, is that done in the presence of the actor? Is it done in the presence of anyone else? Is it just up to the armorer to do? Is there no an industry standard on it? Exactly how does that work in movies that are filmed day in and day out?
Yeah, it should be done in the presence of the AD. The AD shouldn't take possession of the firearm, but you should verify the state that it's being handed. So if it's intended to be empty, because there may be shots that are going to go to set, they're not using blanks, because if they're not necessary, then you wouldn't use them. But usually that would be better done with a rubber gun. But if you're looking to verify what is actually in the gun, the armorer should check it. In the AD's presence, who sort of verifies it, should be handed to the actor, who should also double check it. There should be training done before you get to set that works all of this out and makes sure that everyone has the knowledge that they need going into production.
All right, one final question, Daniel, because I want to make sure I'm covering everything that's important to all of this. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you think people should understand about what happened or understand about how things should work in Hollywood?
You can now do these sorts of things in post-production, and so there's a big sort of push. Why do we need to have blanks on set at all? We're in the land of make-believe. Can't we just mime it and add the flash and post, which is a lot of productions do, and some productions have come out even in response to this incident to actually say that they're not going to use blanks anymore on set. And so no one should ever lose their life making a movie. I think it's just that simple.
Daniel Leonard, we appreciate your time tonight. Associate Dean over at Chapman University Film School. Amazing school, doing amazing things. Thank you so much.